on to you then. Is there any disciplinary action that could have taken place prior to this banning of the girls from completely writing their exams?
Thank you very much. I think I agree with my sister on the issue that, though I'm not a lawyer, from a social point of view, I think the schools went overboard. And I think that before this could have happened, I want to write from the point of parenting before going to the school. I believe that gradually our traditional system of socialization and parenting are becoming a problem. So the first question I asked myself when I heard the point was, did these girls come from a home where the parents saw the hair bushy? Second, when they go to the school, did the teachers or the students or the authorities also saw? So for me, as Riley said, the teachers or the school authorities would have done something to have prevented this before. Prevented. Yeah. So I think that if there's a lap in disciplinary action, that before they got to that point, there should have another thing they should have done for us to affect this situation in which we are.
Exactly that. Now, we're being told that the girls had bushy hair. Isn't that relative? Because at this moment in time, I may feel that my hair is bushy because I keep it groomed to a certain extent. These girls have gone through the motions, and obviously it may or may not have been pointed out that their hair is growing. But obviously at the point where even the parents aren't involved, and the school takes that decision to ban them from their exams, like you said, it is a major gap in communication. Now, what other forms of punishment or discipline could have been meted out to these girls than the banning?
I personally think that the issue of whether the bushy hair is being relative or being the point needs to be looked at within the context of these are people or students of a school.
Yes.
And every school have their rules and regulations. In terms, we call something in sociology the sociological imagination.
Yes.
We look at the context within which things happen. For me, I think that the school, and I was hearing something, I was reading something yesterday about the fact that from the school's point of view, these are girls who have disciplinary problems. They went into the fact that one of them was even, sacked from another school before she came here. So I felt that personally the school should have a measure by which they should have known these girls are problem girls. So from that point of view, I think that we should also establish whether the teachers or the headmaster or the authority of the school were also able to monitor. Because if the girls, which means that they were writing the papers before this particular paper.
Yes.
So at what point did they realize that the hair was bushy or their hands were bushy? So for me, they could have a way of, disciplining them than preventing them from writing the paper. We could have decided, okay, I was even thinking that way as a way of being deterrent to others, which I know the legal people come. We could have even decided to even carve their hairs there or something, which I know some would disagree. But for me, there were other means by which we would allow them to write the paper. When they finish, there are other disciplinary action that we could have taken against them.
Okay. Let's get into the parenting aspect of this. Now, let's just say 25 years ago, things were different. At a point where you asked a child what he will be in future, you could potentially be answered by the parent. Now it's different. Children have a lot more dialogue when it comes to with their parents, so long as their parents are ready to open the medium of dialogue. Now, the girls have been coated with the paint that's saying that they do not respect. Isn't this a reflection on parenting?
Yes, I think that is a reflection of parenting, but we can look at it from 2 points of view. I think that one of the major problems we are having in our contemporary kind of society is the fact that things have changed. As we said, 25 years ago, where we were young, I was talking about that, where I was brought up, anybody could, see you in the village and discipline you. And I remember you were a report to my mother, she will even discipline you more. So I think now the problem is that gradually we are in a technological era where today children are exposed to variety, social media, television, and also the point also being that now parents are becoming so involved in their career and their jobs. When I was growing up, my mother was a petty trader, my father was working, so there was somebody always in the house, and also the extended family support was always there. My mother would tell her that when she goes to market, we have aunties or cousins who took care of you. But today, we are becoming more urbanized, where bringing people close to us to even stay for our children is a problem. So I think that the problem of parenting is an issue that we have to look at in terms of how have society changed. And so we say that societies are not static, they are dynamic. So the point is that a lot of changes are brought, issues are brought of changes where now parents are working, so parents don't have a lot of time for their children. And also coupled with the issue of the mass media. I teach sociology, I tell people that today the family was the most basic agent of socialization. But today, the peer group, the mass media have taken over the family. Children as young as 3 months old are starting going to school. When we were young, I started school around 4 years, 5 years. But so since to realize that all these factors have, made the parents, not having a lot. And the other aspect also is to, I don't blame the parents in a way. I tell people that a lot of parents don't know who their children are. When I always said, but I never believed in peer pressure until I went to the university. But I realized that people come to school and they don't even know what goes on in school with their parents. I have a lot of students in Lagos today. Some of them don't even attend lectures for a whole 30 weeks. So I think that parents also need to be more involved with the parenting. Let's know the friends of our children. And I can tell you a lot of these children get spoiled and be friends. So I think that parents need to be more responsible. Let's go back to the standard family system. How can we involve the family system in socialization? Until we do these things, I believe that most of these things will come when it comes to discipline of children.
Okay. I'm going to come back to you. Do you have children?
Yes, I do.
You do? Yes. Okay. Now, I'm going to put this in a question for you as a mother. Now, if your child had... What would you have preferred? Would you have preferred for your child to have been banned from the exam or potentially come home with her head shaved?
I would have preferred that if my child had issues at school, I'd be alerted, because I make a conscious effort to have a relationship with the teachers of my children. And then I give my phone number, I contact them regularly. So I expect that if there's a first sign of problem, the teachers would have to alert me.
Okay. Yes. Now, let's just say hypothetically that your child or your ward is at an age whereby there's a certain amount of interaction. So the school would give a letter to your child and say, take this home to your parent, which would be a notification saying that maybe they've broken some of the rules. Now, at this point in time, when the child decides not to give you the letter, which has been done on many occasions, I'm probably guilty of that myself. What would your reaction be then? Because now the school is about to take action on something that your child was meant to have informed you about.
Now, I would still put the blame at the doorstep of the school, because it should be expected that the child may not deliver the letter. It should be expected. The school should have the details of parents, their postal details, phone numbers. The school should have a way of delivering the notice to the parent, not through the child. Okay. Because it should be expected that the child would know the contents of the letter and may not deliver the letter at all.
Okay, so in summarizing everything up, just before we wrap up, are we all in belief that literally at this point in time, the school had other options that they could have taken besides this extreme fact that they banned the girls from taking their exams?
I believe so, because at the moment the girls were growing their hair, if it is part of the school rules and regulations that they shouldn't grow their hair, where were the teachers? Were the students not attending assembly? Did none of the teachers ever see the hair growing? Did they have to wait for the hair to grow at that point? And then it was only when they were entering the exam hall that they noticed the girls had bushy hair. So there's a lot of problem from the discipline side of the school at all. If it was a rule or a regulation of the school, the students know about it.
I have one more question for you, Samson, because this all seems very similar to what happens in public. People build houses where they're not meant to build. They do things that they're not meant to do, and we wait and we watch until they're fully completed, and then we destroy them. Is this a normal cultural thing now? It's actually feeding into our parenting.
Yeah, I think that the problem we have in this country is that we have a lot of rules and regulations there. But when it comes to the enforcement, and you see, when it comes to enforcement, one of the most important aspects is socialization. Getting people aware that this is the reason why you shouldn't build here.
There are consequences and repercussions.
The authorities where, you see, I believe that that's one of the problem. We make laws, but we're not able to enforce them because people don't have that cultural or that socialization mindset that this is what I shouldn't do. I think that on this issue of socialization of the child, I was even thinking yesterday that would the school have been able to find a way by where these children, before they even got, because I read another media which said that they did some gel or perming which made the hair bushy.
Yes.
That for me, I felt that we should have been able to monitor, and as she rightly said, the problem is also that most of our school and teachers don't have interest in the children they are monitoring or teaching.
Right.
So I think that is a call for GS, the Ministry of Education, parents in particular, to wake up and see that children are an investment. If we build all the houses and our children become wayward, they can't live to inherit them.
All right, well, very well said. Our guests this morning have been Ms. Clara Cassette, legal practitioner, and Samson Obed Appiah, who's a lecturer at the Department of Sociology at the University of Ghana. Thank you so much for joining us.